Welcome back to All Moon Radio. This is Chris Baranco here with my partner, Ian Mills. Ian, how's it going for you today?
Pretty good, pretty good. I'm excited for this album.
I'm excited to talk about the album, and I'm also excited because you have a brand new setup going. Tell me a little bit about the new mic and headset.
Yeah, now that we're on a little bit more consistent schedule, I decided to get a mic so you can actually hear what I say during these.
Well, that's good because what you have to say is often way more valuable than what I have to say. Today, we're talking about Sierra Ferrell. And if you stumbled upon this episode because you're a fan of hers, that's great. Welcome to our podcast. We talk about folk, rock, country music. And, you probably, if you're a fan, probably know a little bit about this album or her more than I do. So, welcome and definitely let us know what you think of the episode. But, Ian, why don't you tell us a little bit about her?
Yeah, so I've been a huge fan of Sarah Ferrell for a while now. West Virginian born folk and bluegrass singer-songwriter, kind of known for busking and traveling around the US before moving to Nashville in 2014 and releasing her first two studio albums, Pretty Magic Spell in 2018 and Washington by the Sea in 2019. By that time I was already a fan, and we'll get into it later on the album on how she got on my radar. This album, Trail of Flowers, it came out spring of last year, so spring of 2024. It's her fourth studio album, her second on a label, this one with Rounders Records. Um,
Hmm.
and the title Trail of Flowers refers to, as she puts it in her little blurb for the album, I've always got flowers around me, and sometimes I'll put them in my hair. They always fall out and end up all over the place, so people know who know me are always saying, Sierra's here, there's a trail of flowers.
Wait,
Um,
that's so cool.
yeah, so this album is a collection of maybe some older songs, um, um, in a more big band kind of recording. She also said, I forgot where this quote was, so I'm sorry for not having the source, but how she was always more insecure about writing with people before this, but this album decided to branch out and write with some other people, and we'll get into that as well. So yeah, this is a pretty cool album. What are your over the high level thoughts on it?
Well, that's cool that you mentioned that this was a more collaborative effort than she probably has done in the past, because I also saw that quote. And I recognize some of the names that she co-wrote with, so we'll save that for a little bit later. But high level thoughts, I think this is a really solid album. I really like it. I listened a lot in preparation for this episode, so I gave it a lot of spins through. And yeah, overall, I just really like it. I think it's a good bluegrass album, folk album, but it also has a lot of contemporary elements to it. It's not just traditional like vibes. It has some contemporary hooks and melodies to it. It won 4 Grammy Awards, Americana Album of the Year. And then for American Dreaming, the song, it won Best Americana Roots Song and Best Americana Performance. And then for the song Lighthouse, it won Best American Roots Performance, which I don't really know what the difference is between all those different categories, but
Those were
pretty
all
impressive.
Grammys.
Yeah,
Those were
those
all
were all
Grammys.
Grammys. Yeah. So four
Hmm.
four awards came from this album alone, which is really well done.
Yeah, I'm surprised too because I have a couple highlights on this album, and we'll get into them as we go through it. Not the ones I would award the
Same.
my personal Grammy. I'm curious to see if we'll have the same favorite
Same
song,
favorite song.
like Off Culture's most recent album. Um, but yeah, that's a little surprising that those are the songs, but definitely well deserved, I think, for this album. It's a very strong album.
Yeah, with strong album art too. You see it behind me. Definitely cool album cover. Got that vintage old time feel to it. But let's just get right into it. Let's talk about the first song on the album, American Dreaming. Um, this is the song that I kind of had thought of when I thought of this album before we recorded. This and Dollar Bill Bar were the ones that I was more familiar with. This definitely sets the tone for an album. Big hook to it. A cool. It was co-written with Melody Walker, so one of the ones that she collaborated on. What do you think about this song?
Yeah, I thought it was good. I think it's a good introduction to the album. Like you said, Melody Walker, who is the lead singer and songwriter for the bluegrass band Front Country. and also Lucas Nelson
No
on
way.
this track. And he's on one another later too. So Lucas Nelson also a pretty prominent younger folk and country musician right now, the son of, Willie Nelson. But a very strong musician in his own right. Um, I think yeah, like a great start to the album. Definitely not undeserved for a Grammy. Um, but definitely sets kind of a foundation to I think get even better further in the album.
Yeah, that's cool that Lucas Nelson. I see that now. I do have the album credits in front of me. I just, for some reason, I didn't notice that. A lot of people credit it on this song. Like you mentioned, big band. This is one that has a lot of different instruments and people playing on it. And some other songs are stripped down, like the next song, which is Dollar Bill Bar. And I really like this song. Before we did this listen through, I would have said this was my favorite off the album, because it's the one one of the few that I knew. But I really like this song a lot, so I thought that that would stay the same. But I actually think I have a different one that I like the best. But what do you think about Dollar Bill Bar?
Okay, so this one's my favorite.
Okay,
I
yeah.
like almost like fully uh like I don't know. This was the earworm for me. Like this was I was singing the chorus to the song after the album was over. Um
Yeah.
uh yeah, like I noted the toned down instruments, kind of like one of Sierra's like signature song overall dynamics of like incredible voice. She has a incredible voice throughout all of her songs. It's probably I think I forget what the exact quote was. She mentioned this on like in one of the interviews for this album of like talking about musicality, and she said she something along the lines of she still considers herself to have a ripping voice more than a ripping instrument, talking about her playing guitar, which is like I think her one of her like earlier defining characteristics. And this song Dollar Bill Bar, um, I think shows that sort of dynamic that she does a lot, where it starts out with her incredible voice over some toned down instruments, leading to the chorus where the instruments all expand and her voice goes even
Mm,
higher. It just leads to like a very, I thought this song kind of had like I was trying to find comparisons, so I don't have any examples. I couldn't find exactly what I was thinking. But like my feel for this song is sort of like early 2000s pop country vibes in a good way. Like I know that's sort of like a dig, but like
mm.
um uh just like the chorus of the song is like so wide, so earwormy, and so swingy. I love it. This was my favorite song. Kind of early in the album to go out and say that, but yeah.
Yeah, I really do like it. It's definitely one of my favorites, but there's another song that stuck out to me a little more on my listen through that we'll get into. But yeah, really great song, and I like the lyrics too. So it's just a cool song. Anything else to say on that before we move on to Fox Hunt? Okay,
No?
cool. So Fox Hunt is an interesting song. It definitely stands out. It's got pretty aggressive fiddles to start. And she plays the fiddle on this one, according to what I read. So that's neat. That's not something that I knew before this album that she played the fiddle.
Yeah, so another thing that I sort of forgot to mention in the beginning that I love kind of in tandem with her commanding voice is her commanding presence. Her very artistically commanding presence. She like has like this certain style she wants to do,
Hmm.
thinking back to the album named Trail Flowers with the flowers in her hair. That's only gotten more intense, I think, over the years of her performing live. So that is one of her strengths. Um, I forgot to mention this at the beginning, but I did want to say a quote um, from the Rounder Records exec who signed her back in 2017, I think. Um, uh, uh, she has a depth of artistry that I've personally only come around a few times in my career, and I think the song Fox Hunt kind of shows it. With her playing fiddle as like the leading lady of
Hmm.
the band, kind of playing it down because she has to sing, so it's like down kind of at her chest. She plays it kind of like more like vertical, I guess, like a 180 degrees vertical or 90 degrees vertical, I guess. There's already so many great live performances of the song, I think. They're the ones with the most views if you search this on YouTube, like ones like The
Mm.
Current, and of course one of my favorite channels, Western AF, who has funnily enough, like one of my favorite artists, Nick Shoulders, playing like the cheapest banjo I've ever seen. But her starting out the song on the fiddle throughout, and her voice on the song, like Dollar Bill Bar, is just so great. So I think these two are my favorite on the album.
We go into Chitlin Cooking Time in Cheatham County. I hope I pronounced that correctly. And Ian, this is the only track on the album, I believe, that is a traditional song. Am I correct in that?
Yeah. Uh, I have a lot to say about this. I'll let you go first this time so I don't
Okay.
steamroll over
Yeah,
what you
I would.
have.
Yeah, I was just gonna pretty much just introduce it. It's an old time country song from Nashville. I believe the original is, I just had it, Arthur Smith Trio. It was recorded in 1936. It's been recorded several times since throughout the years. Yeah, I'll let you talk about the song.
Yeah, so it's a interesting song. Did you pick up the tune that it was that the lyrics were written for? It's
No?
one of the things like whenever you hear a Bob Dylan song, even when it's a cover, you know like this is a Bob Dylan song. It sounds like a
Yeah.
Bob Dylan song. So when I first heard the song, I was like, this sounds a lot like St. James Infirmary Blues, old blues song, written probably in the 20s. I don't know.
Hmm.
I love this is probably stuff like this is probably worth an entire episode just because like it's very interesting being kind of like at the cusp of recorded music. Thing like recorded music started like commercially probably like in 1920, give or take a
Hmm.
few years.
Yeah.
So like songs around this time, like you said, like for like first originated in 1920s, like well, like how much was it bouncing around before then? Um, St. James Infirmary Blues, not to go too far on this tangent. Earliest versions I could find are like 1924. Obviously made popular by Louis Armstrong in 1928. This song,
Obviously, we all knew that, of course.
you know Louis Armstrong, don't act like you
Yeah,
don't.
no, of course I know him,
Um,
but I didn't know
yeah,
that song.
but so this song like is very is lyrics written over the tune of St. James Infirmary Blues. Like it's more direct than I thought.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, so normally attribute so there's like a bunch of levels to this. Sierra herself attributes this to um saying it's a very old, it's a slave song from back in the day. Um it's something that I love to talk about. I don't think people need to forget and society wants you to forget. Um and that's from a Variety article about this album. And so I was
Mm.
curious because I had never heard of this song before.
Hmm.
If you can't tell by now, I kind of like digging into these old songs and how they came about.
No, I
So I was
love it.
looking into this. There's a couple others that like um, hold the not hold. Oh, sorry. Um, there's some other
Hmm.
ones like Hold the Woodpile Down that um I heard through Billy that he got from Doc Watson, and it's a lot older than that. So like this is something that like I've gotten used to digging down into.
Yeah.
So from what I can find, not to take too long, was that the earliest recording of this I could find was from the Arthur Smith Trio in 1936, like you said,
Yeah.
as sort of a fiddle tune. Um, Going into some old 2000s message boards, some posts from like 2000, 2008 on
Oh my God.
nutcat.org. And I also want to shout out Jody Crisco's blog from 2012, kind of going over the origins of this. Said it was um, written by Kirk McGee of the McGee brothers, who were active from 1925 to 1975. Who this is not a direct quote, but like the quote supposedly is wrote the lyrics over St. James Infirmary Blues by him being Kirk McGee and a fellow named Busby. And these are guys that were playing at the WSM Barn Dance, which would become the Grand Ole Opry in a couple years after this quote supposedly took place.
Wow.
So obviously a connection in Nashville. Sierra has been in Nashville for like over 10 years now. Um, I don't know how accurate this is. The only Busby at WSM I could find was a guy named Buzz Busby. I think Buzz is a nickname. Who was a mandolin player. So kind of fits. So that kind of fits in with a fellow named Busby, but he was born in 1933, which had been 3 years before the song was recorded by the Arthur Smith Trio.
Mm.
Um, the McGees, though, did play with Arthur Smith in the Dixieliners from 1931 to 1938. So there's somewhere around the 1930s. This song, the lyrics for this song were probably written over the St. James Infirmary Blues tune. A lot of I could find like a lot of Nashville musicians or Tennessee musicians playing this.
Hmm.
Um, the other studio recording from this is from Pokey LaForge, who is sometimes attributed to the originator, and he's on Third Man Records, so Jack White's record company in
Oh,
Nashville.
cool.
And then the earliest one that I could find live was Justin Townes Earl, a great Nashville, or sorry, not Nashville, a great Tennessee musician.
Mm.
And he was the one that I first got Arthur Smith Trio. He said it was first recorded by them. So interesting song. Um, I like going into the history of it.
Yeah, I love
That
that.
definitely seems it was bouncing around the Nashville music scene for upwards of 60 years or so before people start people recording it. So I don't know, cool song. I liked it.
That's very cool. One of my favorite classes I took in college was called Folk Song and Ballad, and the professor talked a lot about kind of what you were talking about, and I just feel like you would have loved that class and aced it. Because very similar, just going into the history, deep dives into the history of these songs and the earliest field recordings and whatnot. You would have loved that class. So pretty cool. Next, we go into Wish You Well. This is a heartbreaking song, really, when you read the lyrics of it. And there's a really beautiful string arrangement on the back end of it as well. Not a traditional song. This was written by Sierra Farrell. What are your thoughts on this one, given that it doesn't have that extensive history attached to it? A little different.
Yeah, I don't think any more have that history, so I will be more succinct for the rest. Yeah, I liked it. First real slow song. Really the only slow song on the album. I would say to this
Yeah,
extent.
yeah, that's a good
Um,
point.
so it was great, kind of like middle track. For that, for kind of I think classic placement of a song like this.
Yeah, the lyrics, nothing could prepare me for the joy you took from me, stole away the person that I was when I was free. That hurts. That cuts deep. So definitely a sadder song. Next we go into Money Train, which is quicker song, 2 minutes and 40 seconds. I like this one a lot. It's brisk, it kind of rolling country feel to it. What are your thoughts on Money Train?
Yeah, so I know that like kind of similar themes to some extent at the last song. There's like a couple of songs on this album that feel like in the same sort of album universe. And this is one of them. Um, a little bit more upbeat tempo. I thought it was interested like this is about a guy obviously.
Hmm.
Um, uh, it's interested how he's sort of portrayed as like not necessarily a loser, but at least like not good at his job, out of his element as like a
Hmm.
cowboy, but like doesn't really want to be a cowboy, like isn't really built for it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, he
um,
couldn't rope or ride, never slept outside, that type of thing.
yeah, but then she goes on to write like she thought she understood him like no one else could do. Now he's gone and left her. Her happy times are through. So it's like kind of like not congruent. Like this guy is like a loser. He's not really good for his job. He's not meant for this. From the song is his heart was on the train, but he wasn't built for the rain. But then saying like, oh, like I'm also heartbroken that he's
Mm.
gone. Felt kind of like intentionally so kind of like not perfectly aligned, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. I'm trying to find if there's a connection between this and Dollar Bill Bar. Like you said, there's definitely some of these songs feel like they're in the same universe. Um, so
Oh,
you
I
just
was
got me
thinking of a
thinking
song
about
that
that.
we haven't got to yet. I have one more, but it's interesting. Like Dollar Bill Bar, I think also might fit.
Hmm. We go into I Could Drive You Crazy next. I thought this one's kind of a little whimsical, both in the sound of it, like the fiddle and the playing, and also the lyrics of it. What are your thoughts on I Could Drive You Crazy?
Yeah, so it kind of felt like her kind of trying to write a fiddle tune, like it had like
Yeah.
building off the fiddle intro and it going into the full band, like very simple rhyming, like very kind of consistent tempo throughout. I won't be the pretentious like folk and jam band guy that's like gonna complain about pop music now, but like I kind of got pop music vibes from the rhyming, like mountaintop, autumn crop, never stop, small town cop, kind
Hmm.
of like very like short words, like all like obviously rhyme very simply. Not in a bad way necessarily, but like I don't know. Like it definitely is apparent when you're listening to this song. It probably intentionally so.
Yeah. Maybe it's safe to say then, since you kind of introduced it that way, this isn't one of my favorites from the album, I think. I don't know if you would agree with that, but I was kind of holding that back. But I think it's safe to say that for me, it wasn't one of my favorites.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. I mean, there's so many strong songs on this album
Yeah.
that having
Hmm.
something like this, like I think it's fair to have lower down. But I do think it's something that like some songs just like aren't are kind of gonna be duds on the album, but like good live, and I think that might be one of these songs.
Yeah, this I could see this being good live. That was a good point. And I don't dislike it by any means. It's just not it didn't stand out to me as one of my favorites. But that's a good transition into the next song, which is my favorite from the album, Why Haven't You Loved Me Yet? And pretty interesting. I feel like that this ended up being my favorite because it's a quick song, 2 minutes and 15 seconds. I think it's the shortest. Well, no, there's a shorter track, but we'll get into that one because I have some thoughts about that. But
What
I
are you trying to
really,
say? You just like the songs that are short?
no, no,
Or
no,
you just
no.
want to be done with them?
No, no, I really like this one because it kind of has like a rockabilly, like almost like
Yeah.
1950s feel to it to me.
That's exactly what I wrote. It's so
Hmm.
funny that you said, and I knew we were gonna have one of these moments this episode. I like the slide guitar. I said like this is how I wrote it. I think we're describing the same thing. I said it kind of has like a surf rock swing
Yes, yes, exactly.
that I really liked. It reminded me. She played with a band called the Royal Hounds. Did a couple songs with them. And one of
Hmm.
the ones that's always been in my like live music playlist has been "Fooling Around" by the Royal Hounds with Sierra Ferrell. Kind of has the same kind of surf rock swing, like I said. I don't know. It's definitely a distinctive sound. I think it's something that like is always going to be kind of a favorite of ours, just kind of like that era and that guitar tone. So it's
Yeah,
funny. Like I knew we were gonna have something that week. We picked up identically.
yeah. I really liked that. I think it just felt refreshing on the album. It just felt like a little bit of a different twist. So I thought it was a really cool song and I liked it a lot. Anything else to say on that before we go into the next song, Rosemary?
Mm-mm.
All right, so we'll talk about Rosemary, a darker song on the album. Um, you know, I'm looking at the lyrics right now, and is this a murder ballad, would you say? Would you classify it as that?
Yeah.
Okay. Talk to me about Rosemary.
Yeah, so I that's what I was gonna ask you for this song if you knew what a murder ballad was. Sorry
Yeah.
for being pretentious and
No, no, that's not
not
at
think you
all.
would. Just really curious if
Please
you know.
explain it. Yeah.
This is gonna be an Easter egg for the future. We'll get back to this on murder ballads. But it's no surprise that you do know because it's a pretty well-known subgenre of traditional music,
Mm-hmm.
murder ballads, dealing with like a crime or gruesome death. Their lyrics are often like a narrative, describing the events of the murder, including before and after, kind of how usually they're presented in the first person. So the
Mm-hmm.
singer is the person who committed the murder or crime, kind of detailing their mental state before and after. Often, like, I think the consequences after, like, very often this person ends up dead or in jail and is sort of reflects on that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what's the culture song? I'm trying to
Kate
remember.
McCannon.
Kate McCanning.
I feel like
From
he's got a few, probably.
yeah, that's probably the most direct of him starting in prison, and then the whole thing's kind of a flashback. From
Mm-hmm.
the Dead universe, Stagger Lee, Long Black Veil, which is more of a traditional song, I guess.
Yeah, yeah,
Some
Stagger
one I've
Lee.
been listening to a lot of, Little Sadie or Cocaine Blues. Um, I love this song a lot. This is how I came into, or how Sarah Farrell got on my radar. um,
This
on
song?
her Gems on VHS version in 2017.
Oh
I love
wow.
Gems on VHS. So this is pre her albums. This is how I kind of listened to her albums when they first came out on Bandcamp, like when they were indie published. This has like it's one of the most popular songs of hers. I think over 4 million views on YouTube. Um, it's a song that I've seen versions of for many years now, so it's pretty cool to get it like an album version.
I had no idea that it had been around for that long, so that's really cool. Um, Anything else you wanted to say on that before we talk about the Grammy Award winning song Lighthouse?
Nope.
All right, well, Lighthouse, what I wanted to point out was that one of the co-writers with her on this was Lindsay Liu, who I don't know, do you listen to Lindsay Liu?
Yeah, yeah, I've been a
Yeah.
fan of Lindsay Liu.
I think you introduced me to her, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
I really like Lindsay Liu, so it was cool to see that she was on this album. Um, I think it's a very like optimistic song, which is nice and refreshing, especially after a murder ballad like that. Um, but when we talked about the Grammy Award winning songs, I'd probably want to have guessed that this would have been one of them.
Yeah, that was surprising. I didn't know the stuff about
Now I gotta double
the
check.
Grammy for like individual song. No, it's fine. Like I know it was released. I don't know as a it was released as a single. I don't know preceding the album or after it. Uh, um, yeah, I can't tell the date. But it was released in 2024 as a single.
Okay, I was gonna say, what
Um,
the heck?
um, love Lindsay Lou, definitely.
It sounds like a
And
Lindsay Liu song.
yeah, well, now I'm gonna trash the song, so it sounds bad that
Oh
I
no.
don't know. I do like this song. Like I don't think it's a bad song. I think like uh we kind of end out the album and we'll get into it probably in the next two songs, like mainly her and her guitar. Like we've kind of come out of the songs that are bigger with multiple instruments like big band.
Hmm.
Um Mainly her and her guitar. Um this was the song that I was gonna pair with Money Train. Um with
Mm.
lyrics like I know I'm gonna be okay. Yes, I'm all right without you, for I know there's a brighter day. For I saw a light shining through the mist. Obviously reference to the lighthouse and like kind of getting over a
Oh, that's
past
so
love
cool.
with like following up with a new love and kind of moving on and progressing to the next stage of her life. I thought the song was a little cheesy, and the topic
Yeah.
like the metaphor like a little on the nose, which is fine. Like metaphors can be on the nose. Um, Kind of like cheesy with like the lyrics, but also like sort of the harmonizing in the song. I thought it made it seem kind of Bible schooly,
Mm.
not in a bad way, but like that's why I was. It's like a song you play like in the youth church group, like Chris, like there's someone else who's gonna be a lighthouse for you in your life. His name's Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Oh my God, I
That's
hear
that's
it now.
yeah. So that's why I kind of thought like I don't know, like I don't think it was a bad song, but like it's definitely a little cheesy for me,
Well, again, it was a Grammy Award winning song, so definitely
which
it's
is
not
why I'm
bad.
surprised. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
But I know what
yeah,
you're saying. Also, I just came across a note that this album was number one in the Rolling Stones list of 30 best country albums of 2024. So that's pretty cool. Um, we go into the last two songs of the album. All Come Off the Mountain, 1 minute and 44 seconds. And this really sounded to me like a reprise of I Could Drive You Crazy. Like it sounds very similar to that song. Is that intentional or are they supposed to sound the same or did you pick up on that?
I'm not sure. Like I definitely felt the same. You like these last two songs go quick. I was still like writing out. I was still thinking about Lighthouse, and then American Dream started playing again. I'm like, oh shit, I missed the last two songs of the album. Um, I don't know. It's a good point. I hadn't really thought about it like that. I like these lyrics. I think I like the lyrics more than the song. Maybe I like that Heather's on the hillside, moss in the trees. I'm around your mouth because you're sweet like honeybees. I don't know. Um, so I like the song. I don't really. I like the lyrics. Maybe I like the lyrics more than the song.
Yeah, it's a little stripped down, but I Could Drive You Crazy goes like, I could drive you crazy, can't you tell? And then this song goes like, I'll come off the mountaintop or whatever, I'll come off the mountain. So they do sound very similar. And Ian, we are here at the last song of the album, and that is No Letter. I think it's just her and her guitar, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, do you think like, this kind of feels like it's in universe, like we were talking about, going back to the themes of like the person leaving maybe, and then her like looking back in hindsight?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's like I don't know. It seems like this was like a little bit of a left turn. It's not what I thought the album was going to end on. I didn't know. Like it seemed like a very classic Sierra song, like pretty stripped down guitar. Um, Especially like coming out of Lighthouse, which seemed like resolved on like the Money Train type of song. We're kind of back into the feeling depressed because you know someone's moved on, like they're not responding to you. Um, it does seem interesting. I like all the songs on this album. The album ends on lyrics like I have been lonely, I have been blue, I'm no longer seeing you. Um, Kind of I don't know. I wasn't expecting it, I guess.
Yeah. Um, yeah, it's kind of like an unresolved finish, is in a way of what you're saying. Does that make sense? Am I putting words in your mouth?
Yeah, and more so like it felt like it didn't feel like an album that we're going to end on an unresolved finish in this way, and that
Hmm.
was what was surprising to me.
Yeah. Um, well, I think it's effective nonetheless. I like how she closes it out with just her and her guitar. Um, Overall, great album. I think I don't want to compare albums necessarily. I was going to compare it to last week's episode, but Coulter, I feel like last week when we talked about it, he's a little more traditional sounding, I would say, where this has more contemporary elements kind of woven in. So they're definitely different artists, definitely in the same family, and we're going to cover more artists like this. But it's cool that we're starting to see the differences kind of in between each artist that we cover and how they're all just a little bit unique. She's definitely very unique, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I've been a fan of both of them for years now. I feel like
Hmm.
there is like this really great class of younger folk and country musicians, and both of them are included clearly. I think both these albums share a common thread of like these seem like it seems like a an entry into like the next stage of both of their careers in terms of being like a more
Mm,
mature album. But like you said, like very different in terms of like Coulter seemed like kind of writing his own country songs in the style of what his inspirations were. Well, this felt like jumping into being more collaborative and bringing in a bunch of other contemporaries to write these songs. Where I think both shared the quality that like minimizing covers, only one on each, right?
hmm.
To have more songwriting, and I feel like overall just feeling more confident in the songwriting and feel like there's a lot to say. So yeah, big fan of these albums. I feel like this album got a lot of the was worthy of all the awards it received, even if the songs might not have been the ones I would have picked.
Yeah.
But
Alrighty,
yeah,
into yeah. You can finish what you're saying.
well, I was just gonna say, uh, shit, I don't remember what I was gonna say.
No worries. I was going to say to close this out, tell me a song that you've been listening to on repeat that's not Sierra.
Let me pull up. Um, I've been listening to. I just wanted to pull up the song, like some of my Spotify. I've been listening to "Devil in a Sleeping Bag" by Willie Nelson.
Okay, I'll check it out. Obviously familiar with Willie, not familiar with that song. Is that one of his more popular ones or
Um, I don't think like most, not one of most popular, but
right?
definitely listen to.
Okay. I would say I've been listening to Letters on the Marquee by one of your artists, Vincent Neil Emerson. So maybe we can cover him in a future episode because I'm starting to get into his music. I really like that song. It came up as a recommended song on Spotify, probably from listening to all this and Culture Wall. And I really like that song. So that's one song I've been listening to. Definitely let us know what you've been listening to if you've made it this far in the episode. We appreciate you. Have a great, well, we're recording this before Thanksgiving, but this is going to come out on Black Friday. So we hope you had a great Thanksgiving holiday. We appreciate you listening to our podcast. Ian, I appreciate all the insight that you have because it's really fun to listen to, and definitely don't ever hold back on that music history because I really find it fascinating. So keep up the good work in that front.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
All right, take care.